hip hop today is it's smart, it's insightful. The way that they can communicate a complex message in a very short space is remarkable. And a lot of these kids, they're not going to be reading the New York Times. That's not how they're getting their information.
My hip hop will rock and shout the nation. Hip hop culture is more than music. Peace to you and speak the truth. Show 'em what peace can do when they're reached for you. My hip hop will rock and shout the nation. Rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live.
So hip hop didn't invent anything, but hip hop reinvented everything.
This is Baby Girl Faces, and this episode is brought to you by
Yes, indeed. Peace and love, everybody. It's your man, Yamilo, Mr. Manny Faces, live and direct, coming to you from the dungeons of the Atlanta metropolitan area. Hip Hop Can Save America, the world's most important hip hop podcast, now in live stream format. I hope you like it. I hope that we got some people tuned in, either live and direct or perhaps on the replay. I don't want to spend too much time because if you're on the replay, you want to get right to the meat of it all. But I also realize this is a live stream and people are checking in. So shouts to you if you're checking in on either YouTube, preferred, or Facebook. A lot of y'all know me on Facebook. I'm trying to migrate over to YouTube. YouTube.com/MannyFaces is where you're going to want to be to check this show out on a regular basis. Now, I'm very good at talking for hours on end without any delay or recognition for the fact that it's just me babbling on. Got some people trickling in. I love y'all so much. But I have contractually obligated my good friend, Mr. Silent Night, to always be the first guest on anything that we try that is new. And so here he is once again.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Hold your applause.
S-Case for the kids. What up, man?
It's a family-friendly show?
No, hell no. Yeah. Shouts to Ada on the check-in. Shouts to L-O. That's hard to say. L-O. People checking in on the live cast. So this is brand new. This is episode 0. Peace to the culture. Peace to the culture. We see you on the check-in. Appreciate y'all. It's a new endeavor. This is episode 0. I can't do that symbol anymore. You can't do that. You gotta go watch your symbol. You can't, you know what I mean? You got it's weird now. You can't do that for good reason. Episode 0 of the Hip Hop Can Save America live stream. Now, y'all might know me as a podcaster. We have this acclaimed podcast, Hip Hop Can Save America. It's been around for a few years. It's been on the recommended materials list at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. It's now included in textbooks, bro. I got like one textbook up here, and then there's one that's coming out later this year. I can't say anything yet, but they're including the podcast. So it's a thing. I'm a person. We do a thing that people like. And I wanted to take the opportunity to switch it up a little bit, do it live, make sure we had some interactions, make sure we had some people that could contribute to the conversations. I didn't like the one-way aspect of podcasting, wanted to bring it in and make something happen. So we are working this. Ideally, it'll be Monday nights, this time, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's kind of where I settled. And hopefully we'll kick it on a regular basis.
I like it. I'm excited to be here.
I appreciate you. We're going to talk to you because obviously you're not just a pretty face, nice fellow who gets on the mic because he likes to eat Jell-O. But you do some things that are important in the hip hop world. And if people don't know me and you, the whole point of this show and shows like it is to represent the intersections of hip hop and other areas of society rather than just the entertainment value. Right now, there are a lot of people talking about the entertainment of hip hop, right? The genre of rap. And you can get your Drake, Joe Budden conversations from a plethora of places online. Doesn't mean we won't get into some of these conversations. But the priority here is to make sure that people know all the great things that are happening in hip hop outside of those kind of narrow channels. And we talk about hip hop and education, hip hop and mental health spaces, hip hop in criminal justice reform, as you are well aware of. So these are the kind of things that I talk about on the podcast. Normally, we send out through the newsletter that we have, and of course, we want to keep on going with the live stream. We will have guests. SK, you are like the honorary co-host with the most forever and ever. But we're gonna have some guests. We have some interesting guests already lined up. We're just trying to pick some. Oh, you're right. I forgot. See, I got to get back on my game here. We're going to pick some interesting people that are doing interesting things. We have some industry folk that are getting lined up to talk to us as well. So this is not a shot in the dark here. We got some plans. You know what I mean? So shouts to Dawn Orlando, the great Funkadelic Studios in the place to be. Shouts to you. Shouts to Arcane, brother Arcane. We got Asante. We got some New Brunswick folks, some New Jersey folk in the house. I like it. Asante Stone, let's go. Knicks love the hats.
Oh, you see down here?
Yeah, we kind of planned it, but really he was wearing a hat, and I was like, I got one like that. So then
I was wearing the hat during our check-in right before backstage, you know.
SK, I've been blabbing, giving the introduction. Please let the people know who you are, what you do, and how you present yourself to the world.
Hey, I appreciate you. Silent Night, aka SK, as you said. Represent the band called Fuse. I represent the Newsbeat podcast, another amazing podcast, if I do say so myself. Represent Innocence Project, as you see right here. I just got drafted to the New York Knicks. That's why I'm wearing this hat. No,
it's good.
But
they need a wing.
Yeah.
They need a wing.
And Hip Hop 50 New Brunswick. Shout to Arcane. Shout to Asante, like you said here, because we just did a dope event that me and you spoke about a few weeks ago.
Indeed.
The Hip Hop 50 New Brunswick event. But yeah, MC, recording artist, former performing artist for now, because I'm on a little hiatus. But I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to continue this tradition of being the first guest / co-host in every endeavor that you embark on.
You have to be. You have to. You have no choice. It's in your contract.
Yeah. I just gotta pretend I'm happy to be here. No.
It's from one of the writers. You got to be happy to be here. Shouts to Cloud9 on the check-in. Appreciate y'all. I love that a lot of people come in through YouTube, really trying to build that up. Obviously, I'm in different platforms. YouTube was like not the place where I focused on, but it is the future of this show. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you happen to catch on a replay somewhere else, shoot on over to YouTube, youtube.com/MannyFaces. Do the subscribe, do the set notifications. It'll probably be Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. But of course, I also have been releasing a new series of shorts, of small quickies of interesting news. It's hip hop news that isn't about dumb shit, if I can say so myself.
I like
it. And so those will be dropping on YouTube as well. So if you have the notifications set up, you'll be getting those. Matter of fact, let's run one real quick for the people that don't know.
So
which one do you want?
The third.
Okay, I'll give you the third. Here we go. This is the way I loaded them in. No rhyme or reason here. This is an example of hip-hop news that's not about dumb-ish. Ease back on down the road, because the Wiz is back. I'm Manny Faces, and this is hip-hop news that isn't about dumb shit. Academy, Grammy, and Emmy Award-winning artist Common and Grammy-nominated MC Lyte have joined the co-producing team behind the 2024 revival of The Wiz. The original adaptation of The Wizard of Oz was made famously funky with a cast of black superstars, including Diana Ross, Nipsey Russell, and of course, Michael Jackson. The production was updated for TV as The Wiz Live in 2015 and starred Shanice Shantae as Dorothy, Queen Latifah as The Wiz, and other luminaries like David Alan Grier and Neo. Common also showed up as the bouncer to Emerald City, and now he and MC Lyte have joined as part of the revival's production team. The revival kicks off on September 23rd, 2023 in Baltimore, and it'll tour the U.S. before settling in for a run on New York's Broadway.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one.
So there it is. A little bit of hip-hop news, and this is... Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I love the kids love it. So examples like that are here. What we're here to talk about. Let people know some of the things you might not hear from the bajillion sources that you might see coming across your feeds or social media, lanes. Good stuff. I'd like to see the Wiz come back. It's coming to Broadway. It's on tour. I think it was in Baltimore. That's where they kicked it off. And then they were going to do a bunch of places. I think Washington, D.C., a few other places. And it's going to touch down on Broadway. But now you have hip hop icons, legitimately hip hop folk that are getting into the producing game, not producing like, production, making beats, you know what I mean? But producing Broadway shows and movies and things like that. I think that's where a lot of these folks can make a difference. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We were talking before the show about hip hop productions, theater productions. Shouts to Baba Brinkman, who does hip hop theater. Our friend from New York. There's a bunch of hip hop theater. There's a hip hop theater festival. There's Kumba Links out in Chicago. There's just a lot of organizations that have made that intersection of bringing hip hop to the stage, and I think that's brilliant. Sometimes it's on a production level behind the scenes, and sometimes it's writing the plays. I just met a playwright the other day. I don't know brother's name. We were out here in Atlanta at an event, and he's writing a hip hop play as well. So I think that's a great place.
Shout to my man Dalek, my castmate. Yo, shout to me and myself and I, who was in Word Sound Power earlier this year. Which
of course,
with, at BAM. Shout to another Baba. Shout to Baba Israel.
Baba Israel.
Macau, who you had on here? Who you had on?
Macau's been on the show several times. So Word Sound Power. Tell them what this is for folks who are in the New York area. Brooklyn Academy of Music. BAM. Puts out a yearly event. Kind of produced and curated by our good friend Macau Amin. And tell you were involved. We've always been kind of a fan of it, or we talked about it and we looked at it, but you were actually intimately involved this year. Give a quick rundown to folks. Again, I don't know where this conversations are going, but we just talking about dope hip hop intersections, right? And they did a great job.
I mean, honestly, this was one of the people specifically, or a few of them, but one of the people specifically who was on the show with me, Dalek, is what made me think of it specifically, because we're talking about hip hop theater, and that's what he does. Myself and Pre the Honey Dark and Helix, we're MCs, and Dalek's the MC too, don't get me wrong, but we're MCs, but we were kind of like coming from that MC hip hop artist standpoint, coming onto the stage for a production like this, where Dalek does specifically like hip hop theater and other kind of theater. There he goes. but like you said, this is every April with different artists involved, different MCs involved. We were the ones that were involved this year. This will be next April. The show will be there again at BAM. Shout to Baba Israel and Macau Amin. They both co-directed it. It was an amazing experience, honestly. Boom.
Yeah, for sure. About a week and a half long, right? Didn't it go for a long time this time?
We did we did rehearsals and all that and a bunch of stuff leading up to it. And then it was about a full week of shows where we had every weekday shows for high school students that they bust in.
Right.
And then we also had an open, I'm not sure if it's the same schedule every time, but we had an opening night. We had all the high school shows, and then we had two last night. So one other public event and then a closing public event. Yeah. And the public closing event was amazing, and Rhyme Fest was there, and he jumped on the mic, and my man Mecha Godzilla jumped on the mic that night.
Shouts to Mecha Godzilla. And again, hip hop and theater. So it was sort of a stage show, but different types of performances, not just rappity rappers rapping a rappity rap, but also obviously you had dancers, you had spoken word artists, you had folks from different disciplines, all kind of in the mix. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We had dancers. We had 3 dancers. And even the dancers, I could go into that even more, but even the dancers had their own styles. And, one was more breaker, b-boy. One was like, what do you call it? Light feet or whatever they call it. One's high feet. Like they got different, or crunk or crimp, like different type of dancers. But they had 3 dancers that were amazing, and they could do all different styles. They just specialized in certain ones.
Yeah.
And then we had, I would say spoken word, theater, hip hop MCs, had a choreographer, had dope lighting, just Baba's direction too, and the stage, they built the stage for it. It was just really dope to be part of that and to experience it, when I'm not on stage, even though if I'm side stage or backstage. It was a really great production, definitely. It really is a great production. I'm excited to go next year and see who's on it and see what they do with
it. Normally on these kind of things, I want to tell people about stuff that's about to come, happen. And this obviously happened back in April, but it is a yearly thing. And if you're in the New York area or you visit the New York area, Brooklyn Academy of Music puts together Word Sound Power every year. And once again, shouts to Mikhail. I mean, Ada checked in and said, of course, loves that hip hop is spread into that space. Hometown Brothers, Poor Righteous Teachers, PRT, has a play beginning soon. This is news to me.
Shout out to them. Shout out to Jersey. Shout out to Trenton.
That's right. PRT, Poor Righteous. I got Poor Righteous Teachers vinyl right in this little area over here.
And I didn't know they had to play it. Master Ace got the show coming too.
I was gonna say, good segue. So we got folks. Master Ace has. Matter of fact, Ada, I'm glad you put me onto this. We'll be reaching out. We'd like to get the brethren onto the show and come kick it. Master Ace is being arranged to come and kick it with us about his play and his situation going on. So again, we see, this is why I do this work and why I want to have these conversations. Shouts to Bob Knutson, by the way, checking in. Bob Knutson is a fan from one of our other shows, UNFTR, aka Uneffing the Republic. Shouts to you, sir. Glad to see you here. It's like a crossover event. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like when it's like when Good Times met the Jeffersons, or like, you know what I mean? Like those crossover events when Law and Order meets Sesame Street. Bong bong. Snuffleupagus. Why are you covered in blood? So, well, it wasn't his fault. He was set up. It's a whole. You got to watch the show, man.
You're right.
But the reason why I want to do this is for these conversations and to learn, obviously, what's happening with folks. But it's just this is not the stuff you're gonna hear everywhere else. So shouts to Ada for bringing us that knowledge about Poor Righteous Teachers having a play. I interviewed on. I don't have a clip. I didn't load in all the clips yet. I got a lot of work to do to set up the back end of all these things. But if you go back and check out the previous episodes of Hip Hop Can Save America. It's a video one, so it's also on my YouTube page, youtube.com/MannyFaces. Please, that's we're congregating there now. But if you're a podcast listener on the audio, you'll still get the interviews. You won't get all this banter on the audio, but you'll get the interview. So when we do have guests come in, you'll get that on the podcast feed. But a few episodes back, I interviewed a couple of brilliant women who were doing a hip hop version of Cinderella. Mm-hmm. It's called Hip Hop Cinderella, and it was a great interview, and Rona Siddiqui was on there, and I'm calling it up now. They were in New York and then did a Nashville run, and I just want to call it up so you can see it along with us, because it was a great talk. And again, you learn about how, Brittany Nicole Williams also starred on that show, on that play. For the New York run. And again, this is something that, matter of fact, they just hit me because I think the Nashville show sold like 17,000 tickets, and now they're packaging this up and trying to bring it to other cities across the nation. So it's a successful, interesting, fun thing when you see a hip hop take on a traditional story. And of course, like we talked about with Poor Righteous Teachers, Master Ace and them, bringing an original story from a hip hop, I guess, mindset, right? A hip hop lens. So, so we're seeing a lot of that, which is dope. You'll find information like this, not only on this show, but you'll find information like this on my newsletter. So I'm urging folks, again, you'll see it listed in all the information. I send out a newsletter called Words Eye Manifest. You will see that today we had a edition go out right here, more Hip Hop 50 events, and a new live stream tonight, which is this show, plus new conference info. And I want to talk about that as well. A lot of the people who listen to the show, I think everyone who listens to the show is pretty smart and loves hip hop. And else, why would you kind of be here? But one of the things that I often spread information about, what up to Jay and Nikki Webb, good friends, who I might be seeing soon in real life. That'd be awesome after many years. But we will be spreading information about conferences and gatherings, like meetings of the mind. Sometimes they're academic conferences, sometimes they're cultural conferences. And while I got y'all's attention, I just want to say, if there are any academics in the house or folks that are kind of working in that field, there's a great conference coming up in November, the Global Conference on Hip Hop Education. It's the 3rd edition of this. It will be going down in person. We've done it virtually for the past couple of years. I've been involved with them. Shouts to Dr. Tasha Iglesias. Shouts to Monk. Shouts to everybody else. A different Monk sound, right? Who's helping with this. Shouts to Cindy. We are putting together a live and in-person event. It's at California State Long Beach campus. It's November 8th to 10th. Again, you can get all this information if you subscribe to the free newsletter. It's on Substack, mannyfaces.substack.com. And I only say this because obviously if academics are there, we've already kind of collected presentations and got the schedule set. But obviously register for the event. Come in person if you're near the West Coast. If you're near LA, Long Beach area, you can attend virtually. There's a virtual component to this as well. And we are now taking sponsorship packages, et cetera, et cetera. So if your organization, maybe you wrote a book, maybe you got an organization, a nonprofit that's trying to get into this, lane. We have some options there as well. So something to know about. There are, to the surprise of many, a lot of hip hop conferences happening at colleges throughout the year, not just because of Hip Hop 50, although that brought a lot of folks out. I was at Howard University presenting and moderating some panels. Shouts to Howard University. Shouts to Sia up there.
Oh, I was about to say down there, but it's up there for you.
It's up there for me because I'm in Atlanta. Yeah. Fact. Over there. At Howard. Shouts to them for their Hip Hop 50 conference. And there's been a few of those, but really there's yearly conferences that have to do with hip hop. So again, academic, yeah, but as Dr. Tasha Iglesias always says, and my thing is, let's not always limit it to, academics, right? Because practitioners of hip hop culture need to be at the same table as the academics. Just saying, put it out that way. So once again, Global Conference on Hip Hop Education. I'm a co-chair of the event. I'm helping put it together, but it's a dope event. 3rd year. I've seen the lineup. We got some powerhouse presentations, people who study hip hop, who advocate for it like I do, and are just going to bring some beautiful presentations and performances to this thing. So again, you can check it out. I could put the link in here, I suppose. In the chat, in the comments here. But best thing to do is substack.com. Sign up. It's free. I think I put an extra slash in there, but you get the picture. You know what to do. You know how to work the internet. All right. Listen, I've been talking for a second. I want you to tell me about SK when we come back from this very short 1-minute break.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me about the Innocence Project work you do.
That chant is in my head. Sign that bill. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. And the rally that you just attended. Mm-hmm. I'm not ignoring the fact also that there are some really wild things happening in the world as we speak. But we do what we do where we do it. So I'm just going to stay focused on what we do right now. Again, because of our previous interactions and work together, you've ended up working with the Innocence Project. This is a direct way that hip hop is directly involved with criminal justice reform on a grassroots level, of which this is just one of many, 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 many examples. And me, I always get my feathers ruffled when people have this kind of notion that hip hop doesn't still have that revolutionary spirit, doesn't have that ability to affect social change. And I'm saying, you talking about rap music, you talking about the rap music industry, that's different than what hip hop does on the streets. So we're going to talk about that when we come back in literally 1 minute. Because you know what? Your favorite rapper is trash.
Wow. Now, this hip hop party card game ain't for kids, and it ain't trivia. In fact, it's disrespectful because your favorite rapper is trash. I'm Manny Faces, and this is hip hop news that isn't about dumb shit. University of Dope is a black and woman-owned operation founded by two college friends, and from its humble beginnings, now sits on the shelves of one of the nation's largest retailers. Instead of right or wrong answers, this game inspires debates and conversations about hip-hop that'll engage, delight, and enrage true fans of the music and culture. But it's all in good fun, as co-founder A.V. Perkins told me.
You know, when you're with your family, you're not holding there's no holds bars, right? So you're really just giving it like, oh, well, Jay-Z and Ether and, you know, all of that stuff. So you kind of like, oh, we wanted people to have that same feeling. The nostalgia, the fun, the reminiscence of it all.
So pick up University of Dope online or at Target and peep my whole interview with A.V. Perkins on YouTube.
Yeah. So there you go. Shouts to University of Dope. Shouts to my good friend, A.V. Perkins. Not really my good friend, but I want her to be my good friend. Like, she's such a dynamic person and does all the things. And she's one of my favorite people that I've never met in real life. So there you go. But University of Dope is dope. I got a copy right here. I got a set right here. Card game. I've played it. It's fun. It's at Target. You got to do it.
I was at Target. I don't know.
It's at Target. How could you? But it's great fun. It's good for, you know, this holiday season's coming up. It's a good gift. There's a 50th anniversary edition, which I don't have. There's an R&B version, which I don't have, which is pretty dope. So like there's many editions. So shouts to University of Dope. They do, and I don't know if they're doing them, but they've also done live events. I'm just putting it up here because I want to give them their proper due. See, let me tell you something. If y'all been watching this for like 20 minutes, a half an hour, how long we been on for? Half an hour? There must be like 10 things you never heard of or haven't even seen covered anywhere else or talked about.
Yeah, for real.
Except right here. This is what we do. That's what I'm talking about. Not playing around. Check out my friends at the University of Dope. It's dope. It's a fun game. It's great for, you know, folks, you know, that have had their lives shaped by hip hop. There's no right answers. And it can get disrespectful. But it's a lot of fun. You can't win. There's no win. There's no right or wrong. It's just great. It's dope. It's a lot of fun. So on that note, tell me, sir, if you would, just to let the people know, this is one of my, you know, most happiest of serendipitous events that have happened in our lives. You and I do work together on a wonderful podcast. It's called U.S. Newsbeat.
Yep.
The Newsbeat podcast is social justice journalism oriented. We interview academics and experts and activists and people who are going through injustice, and we slap music underneath it and kind of make it like mood music, like hashtag Joe Budden. We're not getting into that. Like a documentary, like a score. And then we actually invite independent hip hop artists to drop 316s at intervals during this episode to punctuate and kind of amplify the message that's been talked about by these folks that are facing these injustices. It's a wild product. It's an amazing, one of my favorite things in the world. It's like if Democracy Now! And Black Thought had a podcast, baby. So we do this podcast. It's an award-winning podcast. We've won several awards for it. We've beat the New York Times for Best Podcast of the Year. Yep. Which is, come on.
We did that.
We did that twice. We did it twice, as a matter of fact. I got the awards right here. Look, I could even zoom out. You need to see all my awards? Look, I got the widescreen. Hold on. Come on now. I'm not playing around. See that? See all that bling bling up here? You feel me? So we out here. But
what's this? What's this over here? Oh yeah.
What the hey, come on now. So we're not just talking it, we walking the walk. But it's a great podcast. Like I said, it infuses journalism with music. We did have the esteemed Dr. Cornel West on in our last episode, but we've also covered a great deal of topics, including environmental effects on either low income communities of color. During COVID, we did a whole bunch of stuff on that. We talked about missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. We talked about segregation's role in the Buffalo Massacre. Racist AI was a great one. Not great in what it does, but the fact that artificial intelligence is arresting people because the computers can't tell black people apart, basically. So some really interesting subjects. Now, a while back, we had done an episode on, a few episodes that you've been the featured artist on. You are artist in residence. And it was particularly about exonerated folk, right? People who are in jail for umpty-nine years, sometimes decades, and they get exonerated through DNA evidence or now, newer technology, and they're able to get out of jail after 30, 40 years. But they don't get any money. They don't get any compensation. They often have to fight the city, the municipality, the state to try and get some of that remuneration back so they can live their lives. And it's a difficult challenge just coming out of jail, obviously, after being away for that long. And then having to then, figure out how to, survive. That in that episode, we talked to folks from the Innocence Project.
Yep.
Rebecca Brown, who was at the time
Rebecca Brown,
some director level position at
director of policy there. Yep. Right.
And she was great, and she broke down all the kind of behind the scenes things that were happening. You were the featured artist on there. You killed it. And so first of all, I guess just let the folks know, sort of your contribution to that episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then how that actually essentially led to you, and you're wearing the shirt now, not just because you're a fan, but you're actually an ambassador, an artist ambassador with the Innocence Project, which is of course one of the nation's greatest or well-known or most out there organizations fighting for the rights of folks who are locked away and for exonerees.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. We did that episode. I'm always speaking highly of the podcast itself, of Newsbeat, even the episodes that I'm not on, but I love the structure of it, like the way we do them, or the way y'all do them. Having Chris and Rashad, the journalists, doing interviews with the different guests, using news clips, using the clips from those interviews. Manny Faces producing and putting it all together. Like you said, you have a beat. Sometimes you have different elements of the beat kind of building as it goes. And then, myself or whoever's the featured artist on there spits 3/16 throughout the thing. So it's like, it's not a song, but it's kind of like a song throughout,
Right.
And it usually, it tells the story or goes with whatever the subject is of that episode. So This one, as you said, the name of the episode is Exonerated and Broke. Yep. See it right there on the screen for those watching.
Yep.
And we had, like you said, Rebecca Brown from the Innocence Project. We had Alan Newton, who's an exoneree. And, me and Manny were talking, and, I know Manny honestly was like, yo, what if you came at it from the perspective, like from a perspective of an exoneree? And I ran with that. And, I came at it from the perspective, not of a specific person, because I was reading up, learning Alan Newton's story, learning other stories of exonerees or people fighting for their exoneration. But I kind of, used certain things that I read or learned, but also just made up a fictional character, if you will, and spoke from that perspective. But I mean,
I'll say like an amalgamation, like
it really was kind of an amalgamation. Some things I just kind of made up. Some things were like, it might have been a certain aspect or a fact from this person and something from somebody else. But after that episode, I believe, I don't know if it was Rebecca herself, I think somebody from the Innocence Project reached out to me. We started a line of communication there. Maybe about a little while later, after talking and all this stuff, I was I received a message about becoming an ambassador with the Innocence Project. Ended up making that happen. Went to the offices, met more of the staff. It's been an amazing experience. They really do powerful, amazing work, important work. And I've been able to grow with them, start doing live events with them, start just doing different things, just meeting more people there at the organization and branching out to different things, just doing what I can to help kind of lend my voice to their cause and to this important cause. Yeah.
And what's dope about it is when we talk about their ambassadors, like who was it? Like Stephen Colbert is like one of their
Yeah.
ambassadors.
Yeah,
like
yeah, no, no
Jean
big deal.
Baptiste is.
He's Jean Baptiste, is Stephen Colbert's, and it's me. You know, I remember.
Yeah, as it should be.
No doubt, no doubt. I remember when they were. I
Mhm.
was on the website. It must have been not long after I became an ambassador that the next ambassador, man, and now I don't know people's names, so I'm like forgetting the name, but it's a woman who's on the show Insecure, who's the best friend. But yeah, so she became an ambassador right after me, and our pictures were right next to each other. So joking around, I thought it was clear that I was joking around. I put it online like, oh, SK on the next, on the next season of Insecure. And then, and then I got people like, yo, congrats, that's amazing. I'm like, whoa, no, I'm just joking around. But yeah.
Yvonne Orgy?
Yeah.
Orgly?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm mess up.
I think I really messed it up, but I just saw it real quick.
Yeah.
That is dope. I want to talk real quick about the event that you just went to. First of all, we had a big bash over at the Star Bar in Brooklyn last year.
Yes,
where we held a great event. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rally.
Okay.
I kind of want to let them hear a snippet of.
Oh yeah.
Let's do this. Let me play a snippet so they understand kind of what we're talking about, and let me know if you don't hear this.
I don't hear it yet. Oh no, wait, I hear it on this. I don't know.
You're good? Okay. All right. Hold on. They may not hear it. You don't hear it? They may not hear it. Thank you to Culture. Appreciate you.
Thank
You're
you.
still working out the kinks of this new situation. I'm gonna try one more time, but tell us about the event that we threw at Star Bar.
We're gonna be people watching the stream gonna see us sit there for like 30 seconds in silence.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, this is dope. And it's like, what happened? What
all right, it's coming.
Y'all never been to silent discos?
Everybody put your headphones on. But yeah, we really did do a dope event last June, I believe it was, last summer at Star Bar in Brooklyn. We had Manny Faces was DJing. Me and a band called Fuse performed, SoulCom performed, Katya performed. Yeah, I'm forgetting details right now, but we had Rodney Roberts. SoulCom performed, of course, right. And we had Rodney Roberts, who's an exoneree himself and also a staff member at the Innocence Project, hosting. We had Termaine Hicks, who's a spoken word artist and exoneree, and he was performing. Yeah, it was a great night. It was a great night. We had staff in there, we had ambassadors, we had exonerees, we had people, the people of Brooklyn, Jersey, anywhere around. It was a really dope event. And then myself and the band called Fuse also performed last year on October 2nd, which is Wrongful Conviction Day. We performed at an event with the Innocence Project at Riverside Church. And then this past Wrongful Conviction Day is the rally that Manny mentioned before.
Right. New York City rally. You had there was some other rallies going on. There was a rally of rallies.
Yeah, we almost ended up at the wrong rally.
Some guy in court, some guy with orange hair.
Oh yeah, orange hair.
Weird. Let me know if you can hear this, folks.
We're gonna sit in silence again.
I think we got it now. So this is a snippet from Exonerated and Broke featuring Silent Night, and this is how we put it together. Again, let me know in the chat if you don't hear this. I appreciate y'all last time telling me you don't, but we're gonna try it again.
I don't think they're hearing it again, man. I don't hear it on my stream.
No?
I don't think they're hearing it again, man. Nope.
That's weird. I think you're lying, but okay.
Yeah, still no.
I'll figure out a way to show it to you. The way you can find us is go to your favorite podcast streaming app, look up Newsbeat, 2 words, 1 love, and you can find the Newsbeat podcast featuring all of us, including Mr. Silent Night. I will find a way to do this. I know how to do it. I just got to figure it out later because I don't want to keep it taking up no time. Thank you, Ada. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob. Thanks again for letting us know that I don't know what I'm doing yet. But
Thanks, Bob, 2 times.
But we look good. And you know what? I even look good this way.
Oh,
dang it. See, nothing's working right. Dang it. Would have been nice. Oh, I know why it doesn't work. Okay. Listen, pilot episode. All right. So this is what's happening. Wheel up, bring it back, come rewind. We'll do it live.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
So now that we have that, let's go back for a moment. I just want to kick some more examples of the news that we are covering. Are you in New York City, Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles, Charlotte, or Miami?
Yes.
Or close to one of those places? The Universal Hip Hop Museum Tour is coming to those cities. Now, if you know that the Universal Hip Hop Museum is being built in New York City, they have been doing a lot of Hip Hop 50 events pretty much in New York and New York City. They were in conjunction with Mass Appeal to throw that big Hip Hop 50 concert at Yankee Stadium. So they're building this giant new facility in the Bronx. It's under construction. It's part of a big development. It was, I think, originally supposed to open this year, and then it was going to open next year. And I think now it's slated for opening in 2025, but these things take time. However, they've been doing a really, really, really good job of putting together like events like pop-ups and other examples of exhibits rather of hip-hop paraphernalia. You might seen a show I think they're also involved with on one of the TV shows, Hip Hop Treasures, where they're going around and they're finding like artifacts and, you know, Bismarckese chains and going through and looking for all these artifacts. Well, the museum is the museum. It's sort of the biggest. There are smaller hip hop museums throughout the country, but this one is certainly the one that's emerging as the center, the place to be. They're taking their show on the road, as you can see there, October 14th in New York City, October 21st down here in Atlanta, November 4th in Houston, November 11th in Los Angeles, and Charlotte and Miami. So if you're in one of those cities, I got to tell you, everything seems to be sold out on the, it's free, but you know, like you had an RSVP, everything seems to be sold out, not sold out, but like unattainable. Now the site doesn't even load. That's weird. All right. Anyway, wanted to give them a shout out because they are coming to those cities. From what I understand though, they're also letting walk-ins occur. So if you're interested in seeing their exhibits, it's a good exhibition. Shouts to Pete Nice from Third Base. Yep. He's one of the chief curators for the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Shouts to Paradise Gray, who's also one of the curators for the museum. Shouts to some of the folks that work there and, you know, all the people that are kind of involved in that organization's push to make the Universal Hip Hop Museum come to life in New York City. That's something I wanted to share with y'all. We talked about hip hop news. It's not about dumb-ish. I showed you a couple of them. I'll give you a couple more. In this in this edition of the newsletter, I just sent out some things. We talked about Common MC Light joining the producing team behind The Wiz. All right. So Ada says that agrees. Pretty much tickets went fast. I get the honors of submitting some of my brother's items for the museum tour. That's dope. And I'm trying to get to the Atlanta one. So I might be standing outside with, you know, looking for someone to leave the door open because it's coming up and I'm going to try to be there. We talked about Common MC Light joining the production team behind The Wiz. This was dope. And you don't see this stuff too often in different places because, you know, a lot of our hip hop media forgets that there's other elements of hip hop that need to be respected. You know what I mean? This is a good story about a Brazilian artist creating graffiti for the visually impaired, basically incorporating Braille with the graffiti. I found fascinating. It's a video story, but like I said, make sure you get to the newsletter I put out for all these links. You'll get them all in one spot. It's really cool stuff. There's another art exhibit kind of thing happening. This happened in Baltimore at first, and now it's at the St. Louis Art Museum. So if you're in St. Louis, I don't know where people are, tuning in from. Matter of fact, let me know where y'all tuning in from. Put y'all your little places in the chat, right? Isn't that what live streamers do? Tell me where you hitting me, where y'all at. St. Louis Art Museum has this great exhibition called The Culture, Hip Hop and Contemporary Art in the 21st Century. It was in collaboration with the Baltimore Museum of Art. And this was a great curated event. So again, art space. We talked about theater today. We just talked about graffiti. We just talked about, now we're talking about art, like contemporary art with a hip hop feel. All the things that hip hop, does is beautiful in all these different ways that you don't hear about or expect to hear about from hip hop. So all these things exist. Hey, Arm and Hammer, right? SK?
The group?
Yeah.
Yep.
They got written up in the New York Times, bro.
Boom.
It's major. So again, it's not that we don't pay attention to the art, to the arts and the music and the et cetera, but when it makes us now, because it made it to the New York Times doesn't mean anything, because the New York Times has traditionally not been the greatest of friends to hip hop. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Certainly not the culture, certainly not the music in that I've lamented for many years that the New York Times very rarely focuses on anything except maybe the most highest of Billboard, top 10 artists, in the new release. It'd be Drake, it'll be Doja Cat, it'll be, folks like that. And that's the extent of their coverage. In the music section, every now and then you'll get something about a smaller, like an art exhibition opening. And throughout history, I don't want to preach. Shouts to Ada in Atlanta. That's right. Shouts to J Webb in Dayton. I'll be in Dayton soon, and J Webb knows that, and we're going to try to link up. Shouts to Silent Night in New Jerusalem. I'm outside of Atlanta myself, but I represent Strong Island till the day I die. But I often get mad that, not get mad, I lament the fact that the New York Times has historically been very quick to, all the news that's fit to print, but all the news that's fit to print is often about maybe the negativity in hip hop. Certainly in the early days, I did a whole study and report, and I do a whole lecture and talk about the effect of media's portrayal of hip hop throughout the early years and how it led to the perceptions that it has now of being, so negative and violence and drugs and misogyny and homophobia and all these things. When we look back over the years, we looked at the nation's paper of record, the New York Times, was only publishing stories that reflected this kind of negativity in the same year that A Tribe Called Quest was breaking out, that Public Enemy was breaking out, that you had all these seminal hip hop artists that 30 years, 20 years later, everyone looks back and say, wow, this was such a great year in hip hop. This was so creative. All these wonderful artists showing such creativity and beautiful blossoming of, meanwhile, that year, they weren't writing about them in that way. So the New York Times is guilty of this. But I do appreciate that Arm & Hammer, who's been putting in work in the indie scene in New York City for a good long time, got some national press, and they deserve it. So just want to shout them out. I used to cover New York hip hop all the time for Birthplace Magazine. Sure. And it was nice to see. You'd agree?
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Some news and things about hip hop. And
we got Wisconsin in the building too.
Yo, Oshkosh Bagosh. Shouts to Bob Knutson out there. All hail Nettie. We do love Nettie. Nettie McGee. Shouts to the late great Nettie McGee. And shouts to Uneffing the Republic, a beautiful podcast that I put out, I helped produce. Yeah. That also looks at the world, most of the country, and says, this is an interesting republic. We're kind of effed. How did we get here? And where are we going? And it's smart for you politicos and economic folk and socio-political, socio-economic lovers. Normally these topics are very dry and boring, but somehow our good host Max, our great co-host 99, and myself as the man behind the glass puts out a great podcast that explains a lot of these issues and helps you get through it. That's a little advertisement. I didn't plan that, but Bob Knudsen is a friend and fan and family over there. So that's what's up. Hey, y'all ready for, y'all not going to leave if I do this, right? We're going to take a little break.
What you doing?
Okay. We're going to have a bathroom break. Some of y'all been sitting in front. Wow. Yeah. So can we take a shouts to Alan Arcane from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Yep. All right. I was born in Pennsylvania, bro. Fun fact.
I was born by the river.
In a little tent?
How'd you know?
Yeah. No, I know. This guy's over here. He's making a mess. I'm like, what are you, born in a barn? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Jesus. I didn't realize it was you. Yeah, I was born right outside of Philadelphia. Fun fact. All right. If we're gonna 3-minute break, seriously, don't leave. We're gonna close the show out with a few more tidbits of information. We're taking a bathroom break. Some of y'all need it. I know SK needs it.
I'm ready to run.
He's ready to run. 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Don't leave. Promise me y'all not gonna leave. Come on now. We put a lot of work into this. And if you're gonna stay, it's fine, because the video I'm about to play, the bathroom break video, is very exciting. So either way, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Running back to you.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all for loving the work I put into this. Right? Everyone's on the phone in the bathroom. What's going on? Of course. Hey, y'all want to say hi to puppy girl faces? Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, you don't want to come up? Little diva. It's okay. She's here. Puppy girl faces, baby girl faces. Y'all know the crew. See, Manny faces. We're live. Doing this live. This is hard. Live is hard, bro. Live is hard. You gotta try doing live sometime. It's hard. Anyway, so we'll wait for SK to come back into the mix. I am here trying out. This is the pilot episode 000. I really like that y'all messing with me and stuck around for a little while. Me and SK breaking it down, some of the things that he does. He's an incredible artist. Please make sure you follow him on social media and we're eagerly awaiting his new project. I know that you've been putting in time behind the scenes, making that project come to life. But he has a plethora. If you're just discovering this man right here, what I should have used was the bathroom break. I should have figured out how to play the music that we were trying to play before. It looked like it was playing, but it just wasn't. Yep. It was weird. But what can I tell you? We'll figure it out later.
Shameless promo myself in the chat real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it. So yeah, follow him on social media. There's a plethora. This guy has 6 albums, EPs, stuff that he's put out in the past. You'll quickly recognize that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to dope artists doing dope things. So make sure you do that. And Innocence Project work is great. Newsbeat work is great. So I think we've covered everything that you do. Y'all still playing badminton? It's too cold now, right?
It's it's too cold.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear.
My teammates abandoned me. Won't play.
Aw.
Nah. We'll probably be back at it in the warmer months, maybe. Also, I got a Mama Knight gave me a new game that we might try, maybe, but it's very it's controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Pickleball. I haven't never played it before, but she gave us this little set. There's I know you guys play badminton over there if you want to play pickleball, but yeah.
I haven't quite gotten into pickleball. For a long time, I didn't know what it was. I'd seen it talked about everywhere, and they were like, Jamie Foxx was seen, the robot Jamie Foxx, they cloned Tyrone Jamie Foxx was playing pickleball. And by then I'd known, because you'd heard pickleball, but I never knew what it was really, and I didn't understand the concept until I was like, what is pickleball? And I had to look it up online. It's interesting. I don't know. Have you ever played it?
No, I haven't played it yet, but who knows? I never thought I would be playing badminton 4 days a week for months at a time. So
COVID is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Indeed.
Made me move to Georgia.
For real.
Crazy.
Some people play badminton, some move to Georgia. Yeah.
Let me know if you hear this, SK. I think if you hear it, they'll hear it. So I just want to know if you'll hear it.
Hit me with it. Play it, damn it. No, I don't hear it.
That's insane. I don't know why he wouldn't hear it. That don't make any sense.
The camera.
I know why that's not happening though. I could tell. I didn't totally.
Well, yeah. I mean, I could try to spit the first verse of the podcast but it's with no beat or anything too.
You know what? Let people hear it, Acapulco. Let's go. Let's let them know. We talked about it a little while ago. For people who might just be tuning in who forgot about us, I can't play the snippet. But why do I have to bother when I have the actual robot, they clone Tyrone artist who did the thing? This was an episode again of Newsbeat, where we did an episode where we talked about the plight of exonerees. People get out of jail, prison for after having served decades, and sometimes you hear about it all the time. For some strange reason, they all seem to be black. Because I guess
a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, not all of them, but you know what I'm saying, black or Hispanic, some women.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's wow, that's a weird thing. I don't know. It makes it seem like the justice system is skewed for some reason, but I'm no expert. What do I know? But not only that, the issue for any exoneree of any background is that once you get out, you don't have any resources. Right. And even if you've been oh, we made a mistake, so sorry, you've been locked away for 27 years. Here's a little bit of money. Some states will give you a little bit of money, some municipalities, some won't. And some will give you much less, obviously, than certainly you deserve. You have the opportunity then to go and sue and, find a lawyer and
more money or try to get a pro bono, and I mean,
when you're
spend years sometimes to
when you're already trying to just come back to society, which is already difficult enough after being away for so long, especially tragically when you were innocent of the crime.
Yep.
So we put out this episode in our fantastic award-winning Newsbeat podcast. Can't pull up the music, but please let them know exactly how we incorporate this after we've spoken to Alan Newton, who was an exoneree out in New York City. Great guy, told us his story. And then we talked to Rebecca Brown, who was the director of policy at the Innocence Project, told us what they're doing behind the scenes to try to free folks. And then we said, man, I know, and and people listening know just how visceral and compelling our rap artists are when they tell us a story and they give it to us raw and they get inside our feelings and they touch us in a way that even hearing Alan Newton, like almost crying and like that gets to us too. But when it's done poetically, it's another thing. If you would, sir, I yield the floor.
Lying down with my wife and child, tired, been a long night, but now I'm chilling, happy, full, built a nice little life, I'm proud. Bell ringing, it's late though, door knocking, it's straight though, y'all stay here, I'ma get it. Probably somebody got locked at their place, Fast forward this whirlwind, now I'm hurled into a cell, got my girl flipping as well, my whole world slipping, no bail. Feel like I'm sitting right on the third rail, how the hell they really gonna think I got it in me? I ain't never heard a damn soul, God forgive me. Plus I got 4 witnesses, I mean really? Because of my prior, because of my skin. Told you I'm tired, you asked me again, tell me again, repeat it. If I want to see my family, I'll just eat it. Guess I'll just plead it, because so far this pleading ain't making no difference. I feel so defeated. How is this real, yo? How is this legal? Why does it feel so? Walls closing in. I know my family and friends know the deal. None of that matters if we being real. I hope my family and friends know the deal. If we gonna fight this, if we gonna appeal. Tired, confused, I signed a confession, but I ain't never fired that weapon, and I ain't never touched that girl. That's a lie. I would die first, not even a question. Yeah, so that's the first verse.
Yeah.
Go to the website or go to all those places that you saw, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts or listen to music or any of that. You can hear the whole thing with like you said, the powerful clips, interview parts with Alan Newton.
Yep.
Rebecca Brown. Here, there's another guest that her name is escaping me right now. And here my other 2 verses that kind of continue the story that I just spit. And you hear
we had I'll put up here. We had Alan Newton right there, Rebecca Brown, and Emily Bazelon. Oh man, Emily Bazelon's a powerhouse. She writes for the New York Times Magazine. She writes for a bunch of places. She's super dope. We have power hitters on here. Like I said, our most recent episode featured. I don't know if you heard of this guy. Cornell West.
So he's also on the one of the award-winning episodes with me and the band called Fuse.
That is true. You shared a spotlight with him. Now I'm saying these things, and I don't want to keep pat ourselves on the back. How dope we are and how good work we do. This was the episode, by the way. It was called "Why We Riot: Institutionalized Inequality, Racism, and Oppression," and basically it looked at the history of civil unrest in America. This was during, I don't know, I want to say maybe Baltimore, Freddie Gray, around those times, but it was so it was prior to the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd. I think right? It was before that. We had done it way before that. Maybe after Michael Brown in Ferguson. Sorry. So again, and it's funny that we did that whole episode, and one of the things we said was it's an episode we don't really want to have to do because you don't want to have to continue to see these things happen. But it's something that we expect we'll have to do again. And we've since re-released it on more than one occasion. It's an interesting, again, not to touch on what's happening outside of our bubble right now in the world. But there's an interesting parallel of sorts, or maybe some tidbits of information from this episode and to what you're seeing going on overseas right now. Point is, this was an award-winning episode. Cornell West was on it. We had Larry Ham from Newark, New Jersey, and the People's Organization for Progress. Is that the name of his organization, I believe? and some other dope stories of kind of breaking down and going through history of why these things happen, why and why they shouldn't happen. So I appreciate that. And again, not to pat us on our back, but the key here tonight, you're being the co-host, but also the guest in a way. And by the way, Jay Webb mentioned Kim Sharpton, aka Cool Kim, aka from the UMCs, NY Oil. He's a friend of the show, and I look forward to having him on. Shouts to Cool Kim putting out new music. We have a lot of OGs, man.
And playing pickleball, I guess.
And apparently playing pickleball. So you could do both. You could be a hip hop artist and still participate in the sport the sport sensation that's taking over the nation. I'm saying all these things to say, listen, the news items we saw, the conference I'm working on over there in California, the work you're doing with the Innocence Project is just multiple examples of ways that hip hop music and culture are positively affecting humanity. In the areas that I like to focus on: education, science and technology, health and wellness, politics and social justice, commerce and entrepreneurialism. There's no area of humanity. Personally, my whole thing is that there's no way that hip hop, when you bring it into the mix with folks that are authentically connected to the culture, it's just ingenuity and creativity and a new twist on things. And you're showing that as a ambassador with the Innocence Project. There aren't any other hip hop artists
that are ambassadors.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes is on there.
Okay.
I know. I mean, I don't know if all of this is still on the website. I know the ambassador program is kind of being revamped right now.
Yeah.
Refreshed and stuff like that.
Right.
But from people that I know that have been ambassadors, either presently or at one time.
Yeah.
He's one of the ones that sticks out as the other hip hop artists. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's others.
And me, what I love is that you're not, Busta Rhymes, but you're not insignificant. You're not you've been making music for 20 years. You were on a Raucous label. You were doing things, with Inspector Deck. You've done you're a very, seasoned, successful independent artist. And
thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. And we talk about all the ways. I'm glad you can hear the sound effects at least. And we talk about all the ways that, hip hop either positively affects society or doesn't do it enough. There's been, with the Hip Hop 50 celebrations, there's been, I guess now I'm going to preach a bit. This is the manifesto part. There's been certain individuals that have lamented certain things. We have seen people not happy with the fact that there haven't been as many celebrations focused on the other elements of hip hop, right? We've seen a lot of rap concerts and a lot of rap, celebrations, but we haven't seen breaking and b-boys and b-girls. We haven't seen graffiti and integrated into some of these celebrations and festivities. We haven't seen the DJ celebrated as much. I'm going to play something that's real cool in a minute that you might like about that before we go. And so that there's a lot to that. Now, hip hop is supposed to be being celebrated for 50 years, but we know that hip hop is a culture and that rap is only one segment of that culture. And so we've asked and we want to see, and some places have done it, those other elements being represented. Now, give credit to New Brunswick, Hip Hop 50, and some of the regional celebrations, some of the regional or smaller celebrations have done a good job incorporating all of those elements into the mix, and some of the larger ones as well. But I think we would recognize that most haven't. So that's one issue. The other thing that I've taken issue with during the course of this Hip Hop 50, and I'm no spokesperson for hip hop. I think we all are to some degree, and none of us are in some degree. It's a complicated thing. But my opinion, as much as it is, matters to anyone, we've seen some folks look at the state of hip hop today and talk about it in sort of in a way that implies that it doesn't have that revolutionary spirit that it once did, right? The soul of counterculture that it once did. I've seen this, and we've seen people writing these things all over social media. We've seen folks like the good honorable, one a person I admire very much, Kevin Powell, wrote a commentary on this. And it's really troubling to me when we look at hip hop or we talk about hip hop, its contribution to society, it's the way it can interact with society, and we only focus on the music, even though we know that hip hop is more than the music. It's strange to me because if you look at what we just talked about, Silent Night's working with the Innocence Project, right? That's a way that hip hop is involved in criminal justice reform. Now, I know there's the Reform Organization with Jay-Z and Meek Mill, the owner of the 76ers, and I know there are things along those lines. And great, fine, sure. And I know that Jay-Z, for example, has done something, financed the Khalif Browder documentary and released protesters from jail. And I get all that. But I think that the real power and what we need to amplify and maybe call attention to and maybe make sure, this is why I do this kind of work, is the folks like Silent Night who are doing the work that kind of influences people on a more grassroots level. That's where I think like directions of people's lives get changed. Not because you hear about Jay-Z and Meek Mill doing a thing and raising a lot of money and putting money into organizations. My life got changed when I was in the middle of Occupy Wall Street in New York City. And I saw all these rallies and all these things happening and people saying, this 1% versus 99%, this economic disparity has to be dealt with finally. And I sat back and I was like, wow, this is what a political movement looks like. And Occupy Wall Street may not have ended up doing anything concrete, but what it did was it inspired a lot of us to say, well, how can I now do what I can do in my little world, whatever I do? And in my world, I'm a journalist. So I started doing more social justice oriented journalism, led me to where I am here today. So what I implore the hip hop folk to do of our age, of a certain age, is to not so much relitigate the same old kind of tired analysis of the music that's out there in the world. Yes, it has issues. Our music had a lot of issues too, if you really want to be serious about it. Like I said, you can talk about who's doing what today, but Mobb Deep's gunshots used to make you levitate, and Lil' Kim used to be scared of the dick, but then she wasn't. So we've had these issues in the past, and they've always been from the day that the music hit the commercial market. We've had the C. Dolores Tuckers and the Tipper Gores doing what they can do to silence y'all, whatever way they can. And there's a slippery slope when you start censoring certain types of music, but then you want to now extend that to political talk. So we can't let censorship be the thing. We also can't spend our times worried about what music might be getting played today on the radios or in the streaming services or wherever music might be played, when we also can extend our energy to making sure that all these things we've talked about tonight, hip hop in theater, hip hop in schools, hip hop in mental health settings, are amplified just as much. Because if you amplify all of that, instead of just talking about, well, I don't like where the music is today because I'm an old school head and I don't like all this negative sex talk and sexy red and all this stuff. But are you also amplifying the stuff that I'm amplifying? The people who are using hip hop to uplift young people's lives? Because if you're not, and you're only doing one of those things, then I don't know if that helps. You know what I mean? It's just me. It's just personal. I want to make sure that every time I say something about hip hop, even if I'm talking negatively about, I don't really like how this artist is, presenting themselves to the world. I got a daughter and blah, blah, blah. We can have those conversations. That's why I like Cyrock. You know what I mean? That's why I like, my people's Genesis B and Liquid and, people like that. That's why I like what Tony Blackman is doing. That's why I like, young and old, right? Old school and new school. People who are doing stuff that's new. That's why I like Lil Sims. We can listen to what she do. So if we're not doing that, then I think we're hurting the cause. So what I'd like to see us to do as Hip Hop 50 comes to a close is to say, this has been a great celebration of our music genre for the past 50 years. But it's really time to start looking at what the culture can do to, save America, save our communities, particularly the communities that birthed and nurtured hip hop to begin with, because we know that people are doing that work, but we don't hear about it. So this show, every Monday night, higher power willing, we'll come on and we'll give you a bunch of stories and a bunch of folks who are doing that stuff. And something's going to touch your soul and say, ooh, I like what they're doing. Let me go support them. Let me go amplify that message. Let me go share that story, so that we're not spending days talking about Drake and Joe Budden. And instead, we're spending days talking about hip hop news that ain't about dumb shit.
The Grammy Museum in LA has launched Hip Hop America, the mixtape exhibit, celebrating 50 years of the music and culture's global impact. I'm Manny Faces, and this is hip hop news that isn't about dumb shit. So this expansive and interactive exhibition is going to go way beyond just showing a timeline. Visitors will explore music, choreography, fashion, business, activism, car culture, regional hip-hop history, media, and much more. Plus, you can expect to see classic artifacts on display from folks like Biggie, Tupac, LL, Dapper Dan, and several others. Co-curator Jason King, dean of USC's Thornton School of Music, says, quote, the exhibit's been carefully curated to reach everyone from hip-hop connoisseurs to uninitiated novices. The exhibit's going to run from October 7th, 2023, all the way through September 4th, 2024.
So yeah. Thank you for letting me rant a little bit.
The manifesto.
Come on, man. Good. I may have it more thought out in the future, but we had to do what we had to do. This is the core of why we do what we do here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm looking forward to all the guests, to all the upcoming shows. Like, I know you were talking about in the earlier in the beginning when we started streaming today, like, you know, that you have certain guests already lined up or working out the schedules and stuff like that. I mean, I'm excited, and I can imagine just even from the guests on the shows that you've put out, the pre-recorded shows, like not the live shows,
right?
And all those. So I'm like you said, touching on every facet, you know, all different types of things in the world, like, and all different types of art and technology and this and that, like so many different aspects that hip hop has to do with, that hip hop reaches, that, you know, is made better through hip hop, like, and all that. So I'm definitely looking forward.
I appreciate that. I hope everyone else is too. And like, listen, I mentioned by name Kevin Powell. This isn't something I didn't say publicly. Responded to his Twitter. Love the guy. I know where he's coming from. So, but I also learned, and I've done this in the past, and this is me taking a step back and saying, you know, I used to call out people, but now I want to call them in. You know what I mean? If y'all not seeing how the way I'm seeing it, then come into this because it's tough. We get these limited viewpoints from being bombarded from us. Or like I said, you can go and find out, go right on your social media tonight. Is Drake and Joe Budden, which is an important conversation. Yeah.
And I think,
to be honest,
yeah, it's not even like limited, meaning like from one person's perspective is limited. Right. But I think like, yeah, when you don't have access or digging deeper purposefully, like you already know what places to check out and all that, then yeah, what you're bombarded with is limited. Like, you know what I mean? Which I think is what you're saying too. Yeah. Where all you're hearing is story A and maybe a little bit of story B and maybe story C. And a lot of that, or most of that, or all of that has to do with one element of hip hop, you know, the emceeing, but like you said, the rap music, the hip hop music, and not even just that. So you're saying not B-boy and B-girl, you know, not breaking, not DJing really, not beatboxing, not this, you know, not all these other things. For the most part, it's just the emceeing or the rapping. But then on top of that, it's just the rap music industry. And then on top of that, it's just the top
level. Right.
Yeah. So no, I definitely understand. And speaking of these two names that you're talking about with Drake and Joe, I was looking at the Innocence Project ambassador list again. And indeed, the only two rappers that I saw were me and Busta Rhymes. But another ambassador is this person you mentioned before, Drake kind of took a shot at her, is Esperanza Spalding. She's an ambassador.
Come on. That's so funny. That's right. In the news, Esperanza Spalding is amazing. And yeah, it's very pretty dope. Arcane brings up a good point. It's hard when graffiti is illegal. Look, So we're going to talk. That's actually one of the things I want to talk about. So I do want to have like kind of also those deeper conversations where we say, okay, is it okay? I'm throwing this out now. We're not going to discuss this tonight, but I'm going to have people on that are going to have very learned opinions, right? Everyone has an opinion, but I do prefer an educated opinion, right? Like, just to be honest, like someone coming from a place of expertise to have that opinion. So we could talk, and I plan to have talks with folks who are like, okay, breaking is in the Olympics. Good or bad? Feel me? Graffiti is now being, used, seen, or utilized, or, brought into legacy institutions, museums, libraries, muralists are being hired to do commercial work, right? Good or bad for the culture? So these are the kind of conversations I want to have here, because again, you won't find a lot of that talk on your internet's webs.
I'm curious with the graffiti stuff, what Arcane thinks too, and not to keep focus on these specific things, but I know you just bring him up and he's in the chat. And two things I want to say, talking about just real quick about the Hip Hop New Brunswick 50 event, the Hip Hop 50 New Brunswick event. We did have the Arcane with the live virtual VR graffiti. So with the headset on, piece in the hand, and like just projecting it onto a screen basically. So which I think is really dope, that even though, like you said in the chat about graffiti being illegal and no one wanting to show face, it's a different conversation, like you said, about what's pros or cons. But I think is really dope is a way to get around that, or a way to not go on somebody's building or property or whatever. It's like that there are, Black Book events, or like even at the Hip Hop 50 New Brunswick event, people are there with the Black Book. So you got, like there's markers, stuff, there's this, there's that. And even in an indoor space where we're not breaking out the spray cans or something, we were able to do something kind of really dope and different with the VR graffiti on the MetaQuest. And Miss Thursday, he took a shot at her. I said Drake took a shot at her. I would say more like I kept reading this quote about, like, he was saying something about her online. I finally actually listened to it today, but he was more like reminiscing / dwelling on his past years. And the main thing was that she won Best Artist the same year that he came out and was up for, like, she beat him out for Best Artist in the Grammys, or
like best new artist, I think, that year, right?
New artist or something. Yeah. So basically, he kind of said something about that on his song,
which some people took to be like a subliminal, like as if she didn't deserve it or whatever the case may be. I think we were all very happy when Esperanza Spalding won, even though it was like, oh, we want our hip hop to be represented at the Grammys. I think no one could deny, that. Yo, giant shout out to Natalie Crew. Like a day zero, if you want to call it that. Someone's been rocking with me for a long time. Natalie Crew, I hope everyone knows who you are, and if not, they find out. Natalie Crew had her toes in a lot of different areas, but asks the question that needs to be asked when we talk about, hip hop being kind of intertwined in these legacy institutions, or the Olympics or museums or whatever. At what expense and who benefits? You're supposed to be over there. You understand the assignment. We want everyone over on YouTube. I'm building it up. As you can see, my numbers are quite lesser on YouTube, but we're building it up. I appreciate you. But yeah, so the idea of who benefits, right? And sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's commerce and culture, right? There's that fine line. We're going to have those conversations, because while Drake versus Joe Budden is sort of a cultural conversation, I'm not saying it's not something we shouldn't talk about. And maybe on the next episode, we will get into some of those topics of the day. But I can't do it at the expense of, look at all these wonderful stories I've done brought you tonight, right? About art exhibits. Right? San Francisco State. If you're in San Francisco, beautiful art exhibit. I'm going to drop this on right now. This whole beautiful art exhibit about the intersection, about these intersections of cultures, is happening at San Francisco State, right? Or San Francisco, what's the name of the place? San Francisco, the Fine Arts Gallery at San Francisco State University. I brought you that story tonight. I can't talk about Drake and Joe Budden if there's art exhibits happening there and in St. Louis at the St. Louis Art Museum. I know that Newark, New Jersey just had something. I think it passed already, or else I would have put it here. So my work is to gather and curate these stories, and we can have some conversations, but we're going to look at those stories of the day, and we're going to talk about it from a cultural, viewpoint, because we look at it. I think most of y'all, if you're with me, you're still with me, look at it from a different angle than just gossip and, barbershop talk. There's place for that. And go do that and go watch them shows and go to those sites. But we're here for something different. We're here for a higher purpose. We answer to a higher authority like Summer McCoy. We answer to higher authorities in the hip hop landscape. We can't mess up. We're being looked at, we're being watched, and we're being assisted. Summer McCoy is, of course, the associate producer or consulting producer. I think we've changed the title, or I've arbitrarily decided. The consulting producer of Hip Hop Can Save America, but a brilliant mind, a brilliant organization, Hip Hop Hacks, the Mixtape Museum. You'll hear me shout her out at the end of every Hip Hop Can Save America episode. My friend, my colleague, one of the best people in the world. Thank you for checking in. Natalie brings up a lot needs to be said about the culture vulturing and cultural colonization that is occurring regarding hip hop culture and how these museums collect all of us to use our cultural and social collateral capital as grant fodder. Woo-wee. When I tell you, these are the conversations I want to have, the input I want to have, the 2 cents, or in Natalie's case, the 4 cents, because she writes long things, but also she's brilliant. These are the conversations I want to have here. I hope that this live stream event allows us to all kind of have that participation together. Obviously, the chat is helping. If you go to my Patreon, and Natalie, look at this. Natalie knows Summer. I know Natalie. I know Summer. Everyone loves each other. You have all the paragraphs. And again, Natalie Cruz, a wealth of knowledge on. We talked about earlier on the technology tip, SK, like the whole Web3 interaction. She's a plethora of knowledge there as well. And I'm going to be reaching out to get some, folks to talk about that side of things. We're going to do some great things. If this works out, y'all, I'll be weekly. If this really works out, I'll be more than one time a week. The success of this whole thing is on y'all, right? And part of that comes from, and I'm going to make the plea, patreon.com/mannyfaces. $5 a month, $10 a month. You know the deal. I've set up new tiers. Not only will you be able to comment in the chats, but I'll bring you on. Live and direct right here. You'll DM me. I'll give you the link and you can come on. But just like this beautiful man has his face on the screen, you can have your beautiful face on the screen and you could jump into these conversations ad lib, like when you just feel like it's like the spirit moves you. We'll have guests, but we're going to have these conversations. But help me make this work. All this costs a lot of, and the thing is, me, I'm not jumping on board with no establishment organization. I want to be independent because I want to be from the people. So when the people in the chat tell me, yo, we got to talk about the vulturing and cultural colonization that's occurring regarding hip hop culture and how these museums collect all of us to use our cultural and social capital as grandfather, I can't very well be sponsored by a museum. Can I? I can't be sponsored by an arts organization, can I? No, I'm sponsored by Baby Girl Faces. And Baby Girl Faces says, if you want this to continue and grow, and we can do this, y'all, just help me out a little bit. Patreon.com/mannyfaces. I know that there's cultural things happening all around us that get funded by the people, for the people, of the people. So help me out, and you'll get some good perks.
You got the video with Baby Girl Faces and the Patreon support.
She's in the beginning. All right, so now I have to play like the whole thing.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, Patreon.com/mannyfaces. Thank you for letting me do that. It's a hard thing to ask for like help like that. You know what I mean? But this is how it works. Now, what I will give you for that, for free as a bonus, I mean, everyone gets it, so it's not like, whatever. But you will also get me to continue putting out this beautiful newsletter, Words Eye Manifest. You get that at Substack, mannyfaces.substack.com. It's free. You can actually pay for it there too if you want. But let's stay on the Patreon and try to do it all there. It's a beautiful newsletter. be doing it more often. It will coincide now with the weekly podcast, and so we'll do a lot of things. When we get official guests, as of hopefully next week, but certainly moving forward, I will take those interviews, the interview portion of the show, and I will repurpose them. They'll be put out on the podcast feed. So if you're an audio listener, you're still going to get the goodness that is the interviews. But if you want all this other juiciness, you got to watch the joint on YouTube live or on the replay. Yep. But I appreciate y'all for joining me tonight. SK,
what up?
How do we do? Pilot episode, kind of just testing some things out.
Yeah, felt good. Feels good.
Feels good, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but
And the Best Actor Oscar goes to Many Faces.
I just won an Oscar.
I did not know. Just right now?
That was Patrick Stewart. You didn't hear him? Yeah.
I did not know this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's that. Fun fact. I plan to be back next Monday. I don't know who we're gonna have as a guest, but I have so many guests lined up. Like that's why I want to do the show, because there's so many people. Like everyone who wrote these articles that I showed you tonight on the thing, I just want to get them and be like, hey, can you come and talk about, the Universal Hip Hop Museum tour, which we talked about tonight, right? Can you come on and talk about the St. Louis Art Museum exhibition? Hey Jeremy, or can we get this wonderful person Andrea to come on and talk about, like, yes, let's go. And so the only way for me to do that was to just do it live.
Do it live.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
So we decided to do it live. This is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. Thank you for coming and being with us tonight. I'm going to take it out. I want to give one big shout out to, and again, we'll take this out. I didn't want to leave the night because I asked them for permission. I'm going to play us out. My man M-Try. Okay. You know M-Try. Shouts to M-Try and DJ Leezy T. Good friends of mine. Good friends of the New York independent hip hop scene. Ooh, something's happening in New York in 2 weeks. I'm going to tell you about, shouts to the Freestyle Mondays family. Freestyle Mondays is coming back to New York. If you know me, you've heard me talk about Freestyle Mondays so many times in the past. 2 weeks in New York City, but I'll come back to that. Find out more next week. Max did we talked about earlier, we want all the elements to be represented during Hip Hop 50, and certainly as we move forward into Hip Hop 51. M-Try put together a fantastic video. I wanted to play it, and that's how we'll take it out. We'll let this run out. I will say goodbye at the end of it, but it's a few minutes long. So enjoy this, and then we'll come back and take us out, because it's a pretty good run. It's an hour and a half. I want to go 2 hours. This is a good place to be. I think this is a good episode 0000000. Keep talking in the chats, my friends. I'll be in there with you. And right now, this is from my good friend M-Try, making sure that the DJs, the cornerstone of the culture. Shouts to the DJs. Shouts to the pioneers. Rest in peace, Justo. Let's go.
Where is the DJ? Remember when DJs were part of the rap group? Each group had their own DJ, and you were sure to know the DJ's name before the show or the song was over. The MCs bragged about how great their DJ was, and they put the DJ on a pedestal. The spotlight was on the captain of the ship. They had all the records and all the equipment. Remember, no DJ, no music. Did you hear what I said? No DJ, no music. Silence. Now let's have a moment of silence. Well, where did they go? Did they sell their record collection and equipment because times got too hard? Did they sell their stuff and move on with their life and get a real job? They just stopped coming around the parks and hanging out. Did they all get fired from their group? Well, where did they go? Somebody's got to know. Wait, do you hear that? Nah, that's not them. That's just the radio in the background. It's just so puzzling. Makes me scratch my head. Scratching, what is it? All that scratching is making me itch. Remember when DJs did cutting and scratching during the song? Man, I thought Jam Master Jay's hand was gonna rip right through my boombox the way he cut those guitar riffs and horn blasts. Bam, 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 bam. I thought I was in a kung fu movie the way Mixmaster Ice threw those daggers through my speakers. But when I heard DJ Jazzy Jeff turn the record into a bird, Say word. Then he did the Transformer scratch. Man, I searched my whole crib to find all those bits and pieces to put the groove back together, but there was just too many pieces. Now, I've heard the stories about Herc, Bam, Flash, Theodore, and Jazzy J, Teddy Ted, and Special K. They were awesome, too. Red Alert, Magic, and Marley kept me tuned in every single weekend to hear these records like, enough, enough. Well, it was one of those days, not much to do. Well, it was one of those days. Well, it was one of those days. Well, it was one of those. Why did they do that? And how did they do that? It was like a whole new version of the song. Pretty damn cool if you ask me. And speaking of cool, LL Cool J is hard as. What's my DJ's name? Cut Creator. Why did his other DJ named Bobcat wear a raccoon hat? Maybe he just liked the TV show The Honeymooners. Hey there, Ralphie boy. Yeah, boy! Yo! My DJ's nicer than yours. Well, who's your DJ? Well, KRS had Scott LaRock, Rakim had Eric B, Salt and Pepper had Spinderella, Big Daddy Kane had Mr. C. Cool G Rap had DJ Polo, Kid and Play had DJ Wiz, shoot, Clark Kent DJ for Dana Dane, Jay-Z, and even Big. Dougie Fresh had Chill Will and Cut Professor Barry B. Slick Rick had Vance Wright and Biz Markie had Cool V. Terminator X spoke with his hands. Pete Rock and DJ Premier had other plans. They said, we'll do all the funkiest scratches and we'll make all the beats. Keep everything in-house so the whole family could eat. Make way for the super producers. Well, that was already started by Larry Smith, Rick Rubin, Marley Marl, BDP, with the help of Said G, the Bomb Squad, and Paul C. Large Pro was making his debut, and Prince Paul brought in this new crew, De La Soul, big up to Maceo. The DJs were still holding it down till about the mid to late 90s when it got turned around and they got pushed so far into the background. But wait a minute, what about Kid Capri, Doo-Wop, Tony Touch, DJ Clue, K-Slay, and a few others that kept the DJs alive with mixtapes? You know, blending, cutting, scratching records to keep you rocking for 90 minutes on a cassette. Then others followed suit and started making mixed CDs, but still calling them mixtapes until rappers couldn't make albums anymore and they slopped together mixtapes, jacking 25 of the hottest industry beats and doing so-called freestyles. Yo, fam, you listen to hip-hop? Yo, fam, yo, check out my mixtape. Good grief, Charlie Brown. The new millennium. Rap music was corporate full throttle. Advertisements, endorsements, popping bottles with models, and representing a lifestyle that was tremendously hostile. Bling bling, making it rain, creating a gangster image. Stone-faced, the Ice Age, hearts so frigid. Can we please get back to the DJ? No more DJ scratching in songs. Sorry, it's not needed anymore. A lot of DJs now have fancy controllers, but they can't even control the crowd, let alone control themselves. Jumping, fist pumping, both hands in the air off the equipment during a mix. What the? The tour DJ was reduced to just pressing play. Yo, DJ, let my instrumental play. Smoked out stage, 20-person entourage cluttering up the space, rappers with their rapidy raps all up in your face. Oh, snap! The music stopped. Who's to blame? The sound man or the DJ? Wait, is there a DJ in the place? Has anybody seen the DJ? Where is the DJ? Seen the DJ? Where is the DJ? Seen the DJ? Where is... Remember when DJs were part of the rap group? I do.
You don't?
No.
What do you know?
Nothing.
Shouts to my man M-Try from the group M-Try and DJ Lisi T. My good friends. Find Max M-Try Triolo on Facebook.
Your best was like coffee. And
I
beer.
haven't had coffee or beer. What are you talking about? Shouts to M-Try, Lisi T.
There's alcohol right next to you.
But beer, that's not beer.
Okay, I don't care. It's still alcohol.
One time for baby girl faces, y'all. Where's the air horn? Do it. Air horn. Come on.
I
Do
know
it.
where it is.
Right, you know where it is.
Oh. I can't see my hair.
So, as you can see, she's gotten bratty lately. Okay. So, anyway, shouts to M-Try, shouts to the DJs, shouts to baby girl faces in the mix. She wandered in, wanted to know when I was finishing up. I said pretty soon. And Uncle SK in the house. And everyone tuned in and turned up with us on the first episode, the inaugural episode, the pilot episode of Hip Hop Can Save
Stop
America,
saying
the live stream show.
Stop saying episodes.
The episode of the episode of the episode of episodes of all the episodes. So this one's important. Don't interrupt me. Patreon.com/MannyFaces. Help me keep doing this thing, y'all. Baby Girl Faces clearly needs new shoes.
Shut up! So I will make you buy me more Air Jordans.
All right. I'll make a disclaimer. None of your Patreon money is going to be going to Baby Girl Faces Air Jordans. I promise you that.
Those are new shoes.
No, we're not going to do it. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope we're making y'all proud. We'll be back next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Then I'll take a week off because of a pre-planned engagement, which is I'll be in New York City for about 20 minutes because the Hip Hop Can Save America podcast, the audio and video version that came before this, is up for a Signal Award. Some of y'all got the email. Many of y'all voted. Thank you for that, for the listener's choice. So hopefully the show wins on its own merit against the other competitors in the music category. It's a very big podcast award. This one, this fancy pantsy one here, right here, is we got that last year, the Bronze Award for the News and Politics category for Newsbeat. And this year, Newsbeat wasn't selected, which was weird, but you know, these things happen. But Hip Hop Can Save America was. And so it was in the music category. So we expect to win. And because of y'all voting, we were significantly ahead with 24 hours left in the listener's choice vote. So we expect to win that too. So hopefully one or both of those will happen. And we will come to New York real quick. Well, we won't. I will.
Nobody wants to go to New York.
I don't know about nobody. A lot of people like to go to New York, like tourists.
It's traumatizing there.
Not a problem.
Yes, it is.
It's traumatizing. You like New York.
I do, but it's so traumatizing.
It's traumatizing. Well, right now it's too cold.
There could be gunshots, for God's sake.
Oh, what are you, a Republican? Anyway, so anyway, we love y'all.
I know.
the crime in the streets in these liberal cities. All right. So anyway, listen, we'll be back next Monday, same time, same place. Yo, shouts to Ada Johnson. She brings up a good point.
Wait,
I will be. Oh, you're live, Ada. So
I can't see.
Hold
I'm
on,
blind.
right over here. Right, I made it big.
Oh.
All right, so I'll be on Ada's podcast this Thursday. Please tell the folks. Can people listen live, or is it something that gets put out? Ada, please tell the people.
Yeah, I want to know too.
I can't see.
I will also.
I can't see.
It's right there.
I see now.
Okay. And while we wait for Ada to tell me how to listen to her podcast, see, I could check me with her. I'll also be on this. I don't know the station. Oh, dang it. I'll be on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. on FM radio.
What do you mean Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C. radio. The folks at Words, Beats, and Life in D.C. Great organization. Shouts to Mozzie, who I had on this show a couple episodes back. I'll be on their radio show. Washington, D.C. Tuesday at I think 3 p.m.
Is this tomorrow Tuesday?
Oh, snap. Tomorrow Tuesday. You're right. Yep. 3 a.m.
School, I forgot.
Yeah, you're off from school all week.
Oh, wait, it's Monday.
Oh, wow.
All right. And then Thursday
I'm done,
at 7 o'clock Eastern, I'll be live with Ada, who's tuned in with us tonight.
I thought it was Ada. Sorry.
Ada? You're right. You know what? I might be saying it wrong.
How do you say your name?
Say Miss Thursday. She's Miss Thursday.
No.
What do you mean? That's it says Miss Thursday. Say it. Come on, everyone loves to hear that name. Come on. Some are saying hi.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
All right. So that's it. Well, listen, I will put it on my calendar. I don't think I did, but I'll put it on my calendar. Ada, send me the link and I'll make sure that people can listen either during or certainly after. If you want to get all this information, once again, you can find it for free. I'll do it a lot. The Words on Manifest.
Oh, yeah. I said it right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, saying it right.
Yay.
The Words on Manifest newsletter at mannyfaces.substack.com.
It's really small, Dad.
I know, but they can see it big. And then, of course, patreon.com/mannyfaces to send some fundage into the coffers to help us make this happen. All right, y'all. You got to learn about talking over someone on the mic. See, I paused. Then you should speak. Then I can speak. See? We've got some radio training to do. SK, tell the people what's going on with you. Anything you want them to know, it's on you.
I mean, you know, follow me. Silent Night is busy. Silent Night with a K. You can see somewhere down there. Yeah, Silent Night is busy. Silent Night on streaming and all that stuff. I mean, like you said before, working on the album, working on a bunch of new music. Finally, to just start finishing and releasing music again. I'm excited and happy to be here. I'm excited for the future of the show. And thank y'all, everybody that's tuning in. Appreciate you.
That's what's up. I dig it. Thank you, sir, for being my eternal first guest. But you are welcome to be my kind of sitting co-host whenever you can be here.
Oh, I did it.
We'll go over all the different news stories that aren't about dumb-ish that you won't find in other hip-hop media because we just do it like that because we're so nice.
It.
What'd you do?
I rounded my tongue.
You rounded your tongue. That's awesome. That's good.
I can't be able to do it in a long time.
You do have like, what's the dude from Kiss? They got the long tongue, the ridiculously long. Look at that. What is this? She's all right. Shout out to baby serpent faces. All right, so we'll be back in 2 weeks. Follow if you're all on YouTube now, so you've all understood the assignment. I appreciate y'all. You know where to find me, and if you need anything else, just hit me. I will be totally accessible to all of you. I love you all.
Roar.
Roar. Peace.
Love y'all.
Bye.